Good evening. My name's Carl. I'm one of Bev's brothers. Even though this way of gathering, with most of us joining digitally or online, it's not the way we'd most like to do it, but for those of us who aren't able to be there, like my wife and I, we're overseas right now, this is a great way that we're able to participate, and we wouldn't be otherwise. Want to say thank you to Katherine for putting the eulogy together and just for the opportunity to share with you a little bit of Bev's life. Beverly Ruth Wiebe, or Bev as we all called her, was born March 13th, 1956 in Kijiji, in what was then the Belgian Congo, to Arthur and Ella both Wiebe. Dad, or Art, built schools and clinics and fixed mission vehicles, while Mom, or Ella, a nurse, provided health care and education to the people and their children in the region. In 1960, at the end of their first 5-year term, which happened to coincide with the advent of a revolution that would ultimately free Congo from Belgian colonial rule, the Wiebe family flew home to the United States. 4-year-old Bev, looking out the window of the airplane as they flew across the U.S., saw clouds blow and was convinced they were on the ground. But she assured everybody later, someone moved all the clouds when we landed. Flying with Bev were her sister Janice and her brother Carl, both of them born in the Congo. Another brother, Dale, flew with them unseen. He would be born in Garden City, Kansas, where Bev's Wiebe grandparents and her Uncle Ted were farmers. At home in Garden, the family welcomed 2 more boys, Glenn and Virgil. The Garden Family Mennonite Brethren Church, a new congregation just founded the year before Bev's family left the Congo, became a central part of Bev's early life. There, she professed her faith in Jesus Christ and was nurtured by Sunday school classes and Sunday worship services. She also learned the ministry of compassion from her parents, who welcomed people of all kinds into their home. Sunday dinner after church was often expanded to include guests invited to join the Wiebe family of 8. As the oldest of 6 children, and with her mother working as a nurse and her father working for the state of Kansas providing services for the blind, Bev took more than her share of responsibility for her siblings and the chores around the house. She carried that sense of responsibility throughout her life, along with the duty to care for people in need, especially children. Bev's concern for children led her first to pursue a teaching career. She began her own education at George Matthews Elementary School in Garden City, went on to the Garden City Junior High before graduating from the high school there in 1974. For the next 4 years, she studied at Tabor College in Hillsborough, Kansas, majoring in elementary education. She began teaching first graders just the following year, and her experience as a teacher really led Bev to consider school children in the context or in relation to their families. And this led her to a new or different vocation. In 1982, she began a program at Kansas State University in Child and Family Development, earning a Master of Arts degree in 1985. Her degree had focused specifically on marriage and family therapy. Upon graduating, Bev moved and joined the Reba Place Fellowship community in Evanston, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago. There, she joined the counseling service, or a counseling service where John Lehman worked. And as in every dimension of her life, Bev strove to integrate her faith with her work. In 2000, Bev returned to Kansas and her beloved Flint Hills to begin a family therapy practice in collaboration with John Lehman in Florence, Kansas. While Bev counseled children and their parents, her deep desire for children of her own went unfulfilled until she adopted a newborn, Michael Christopher, in 2002. Soon after, Bev moved her practice and family to Heston, Kansas, where Lisa, her adoptive cousin, joined them. Lisa, who had Down syndrome, came to live with Bev and Michael when her parent, Ted, could no longer care for her. Lisa's mother, Nettie, had passed away earlier. Lisa lived happily with Bev and Michael until her death just in May 2019 last year. This was 30 years later than the doctors had predicted. Bev's life included some crushing disappointments and pain, concern from which she usually waved away to talk about others whose circumstances were worse. She worried that her contribution to people's lives were not truly significant. This, despite the host of people who have testified to the significance of her role in their lives. For some, she was life-saving. Although some of Bev Wiebe's life dreams were not realized and her life too soon ended, she enriched more lives than would take most 2 lifetimes. In every chapter of her life, Bev maintained a keen sense of humor, an eye for the simple beauty of God's creation, and a fierce love for Michael and a love for the rest of her family. In Evanston, she created intricate mobiles that brought the delicate balance of the Flint Hills prairie into her home. And through her whole life, she pressed flowers to decorate handmade and heartfelt cards to her friends and family. A keeper of the land and protector of nature, she grew a prairie paradise around her home, tending her garden with dear friends like Cindy Combs and Lorna Harder. But even as her body's strength faded, her indomitable spirit remained strong. Yet Bev passed away in her home on September 14th, this last Monday, surrounded by family and friends. She leaves behind her son Michael, as well as her 5 siblings and their families. Janice and Ben Ollenburger with their kids Mary and Catherine and her husband Michael Chester. Carl and Marcella Wiebe, their son Daniel. Dale and Elizabeth Wiebe and their sons Aaron and Nathan. Glenn and Mara Wiebe, their kids Jake and Aaron. Virgil Wiebe and Susan Schmidt with Maggie and Lucas. She now joins Lisa, her parents, Art and Ella, and her aunts and uncles in heaven. And as I finish it, a passage comes to mind in Matthew 6:25, where it says, I tell you not to worry about everyday life, whether you have enough food and drink or enough clothes to wear. Isn't life more than food and your body more than clothing? In verse 26, look at the birds. And Bev was a bird watcher. She had bird feeders and her binoculars there to look at and to watch birds and enjoy birds. And that's one thing I'll always remember about her. But in verse 26 it goes on, look at birds. They don't plant or harvest or store food in barns, for your heavenly Father feeds them. Aren't you far more valuable to Him, your heavenly Father, than they are? And I know, to me, this is one of the things I'll remember about Bev, her enjoying birds, trusting that the Father is going to sees her, take care of Michael, her son, are more valuable to Him than these birds that He takes care of so generously. And now she's with her Father at this point. Thank you.